It was a few days before I had access to the video equipment, and I still didn't know what I wanted to do. I was after a pure theme, something eternal, but yet something that I could do in just a few days. I thought that if I could get people's reactions to a provocative question, that some universal truth would emerge. What do you believe happens to you after you die?
You rot away.
I believe I still exist as a spirit.
I believe you go to a better place, a place in the sky. I don't think you could call it heaven. I think it's better than Earth, but I don't really know. I've never been dead.
I think I enter another dimension.
What do you believe happens to you after you die?
You're dead. That's all.
I believe that you never completely die because your qualities live on and you live in other people's hearts.
What happened to you before you were born? You don't remember.
But for some reason, that truth seemed to evade me. Was I asking the wrong question?
Hey, that's a hard one.
Or was I asking the wrong people? Soon my domestic life began to suffer.
Steve! Steve! What are you doing under there, making your video?
It was about this time that I began thinking about the Green Tomatoz.
Steve, can you hear me?
I've always idolized the Green Tomatoz, though I've never actually seen them play or heard their music. Maybe I could even film them at the Sun Club. I assumed that the Tomatoz would be interested in the project due to all the exposure that it would bring them. So the first thing I did, of course, was to call Sun Club owner and legendary bluesman Hans Olsen.
Hello, Hans? Hans, were you sleeping? But it's 3 in the afternoon. Yeah, this is Steve. I wanted to talk to you about filming the Green Tomatoz at your club. Hans? Hans, listen, how about I call you back a little later when you're awake? Snoring.
So with Hans a definite maybe, I figured now was the time to line up some camera help. And who better than my old radio buddy and Bisbeeite, Ron Ertley. Ron wasn't very enthusiastic, saying that he didn't like leaving Bisbee for more than 3 days at a time. However, with a little persuasion, I thought that I had coerced Ron into helping me. But on the night of his expected arrival, Ron Ertley, like my bills, was way past due. So I figured, like my creditors, that he would call me any minute. But when he didn't, I tried calling him for hours. Then I figured I'd just dial his number and leave the phone off the hook until he came home and answered it. Finally, I took control of the situation.
Hello, police department? Have you arrested anybody by the name of Ron Ertley tonight? Well, if you do, would you tell him to call me? Steve. That's right. Thank you. Fire department? Has anybody's house by the name of Ron Ertley burnt down tonight? Well, if it happens to, would you tell him to call Steve? Thanks a lot. Hello, information. Has anybody called up asking for a Ron Ertley's phone number tonight? You don't know? Well, if they do, would you tell them to tell Ron to call Steve? Thanks.
Ron was a possible definite maybe. You see, Ron was a really nice guy who just couldn't say no. He was the type of guy who would agree to do things that he never really wanted to do, and then to prove it, he just wouldn't show up. I would have told him that that wasn't very professional, but since I wasn't paying him anything, that really wouldn't make him a pro. However, it was still quite amateurish. So with a possible definite maybe, one definite maybe, and one uncommitted assumption, I still wasn't any closer to coming up with something unique for my video. Or was I?
Howdy. This is Cowboy Weather. We don't need no maps. We don't need no diagrams. We don't need no satellites. We don't need no little itty-bitty pointer.
Cowboy Weather. No eternal truth there. I thought about trashing the project and becoming a video jock.
Hey, that's right, JJ just with his latest video, How Do I Do It the Way I Don't? And we'll be right back with some more on the floor. Keep it where you came from and don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Soon I became so depressed, I turned to religion. And then finally to the blues.
Well, I tried to make a video, but it was just not to be. Yeah, I tried to make a video, but it was just I wish somebody'd set up a concert and send the proceeds to me. I wish somebody'd make a concert, baby, and send every last green dollar to me. And then I could make my video, even though I know it was never meant to.
At least my domestic life was stable.
Why don't you get a job?
But through it all, I still had visions of how it could have been. Of me filming the Green Tomatoz at the Sun Club. I could have even introduced them.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a warm round of applause for the Green Tomatoz.
The post-concert interview would be deep and revealing.
Is it tomatoes or is it tomatoes?
Today it's tomatoes. Tomatoes. No, it's tomatoes.
We are the Green Tomatoz.
Tomatoes. Tomatoes.
We are the Green Tomatoz.
What is the main thing you girls sing about?
Ourselves? Food. Food. Ourselves, yes. Food. And the mailman. Our friends. Food. Love. Yeah. Love. And food. Yeah. Love and food, basically, if you want to get down to the nitty-gritty.
You know, now that I think about it, there were bad omens from the start. It just seemed like this project was never going to fly. Why couldn't I get what I wanted? Not even my friends seemed supportive of the project.